Welcome to 1991 Movie Rewind, the podcast where we watch and review every movie released in 1991, from the all-time greatest classics to the critically panned and everything in between. We will rediscover forgotten fan favorites and uncover hidden gems as we explore the depths of direct-to-video. Join us in our celebration of the fun, unique, and diverse films of this highly underrated year. This week, we watched Virgin High. Movie Rewind. In Virgin High, Christy, played by Tracy Dali, is punished by her parents for coming home from a date past midnight with some missing clothes. She's sent to live at a Catholic boarding school. Meanwhile, her boyfriend Jerry, played by Richard Gabai, is determined to find a way to sneak into the all-girls school with his two guy friends. Screenplay by Neill, directed by Richard Gabai, and released on January 23rd, 1991. I'll just assume that you haven't seen this movie before.
No, I haven't.
The reason we picked it, we're starting a whole month of USA Up All Night movies that were featured on that program, and this was on it 4 or 5 times, something like that, starting in 1993. So, depending on how often we watched it, it could have been. This did not ring any bells for me.
No, it premiered on USA Up All Night June 4th, 1993.
So it had like a good 2.5 years of direct-to-video window. It's, as far as I know, it had to have been direct-to-video.
Yeah.
there's no way it was theatrical. Yep. And slightly too raunchy for TV, aside from the USA Up All Night.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure was edited in just a couple minor spots. For a sex comedy, R-rated sex comedy, this is relatively tame, I think.
Yeah, it's not like... I felt like Meatballs is more of like...
Well, I mean, Meatballs is like PG something, isn't it? I don't think that's even R-rated.
Wasn't there like... In the beginning... I haven't seen that movie in a really long time, but I remember it being like a sex comedy. Yeah. Wasn't there like boys looking at girls and it? I don't think
there's any nudity, but I could be wrong because it has been a long time since
we saw any like quote raunchy comedy from the 80s,
summer camp based whatever.
Yeah, it was always like
or something. Is
it's always like boys looking through a hole in a wall in the girls' locker room. That's like every movie, but I mean this isn't that.
No, I mean you think it's going to be that, but it's not that. I guess there is that one scene where Jerry is
like looking through the window.
But
I think he's just trying to blackmail the one girl.
Yeah, which I mean it's a weird plot point. I don't know how. The plot itself is kind of all over the place and doesn't make a whole lot of sense, to be honest.
I mean, it did give me a little bit of Rock and Roll High School Forever vibes.
Oh, yeah. Rock and Roll High School Forever is coherent.
Yeah. I mean,
this is not.
I like Rock and Roll High School Forever better than this.
By far.
That's like silly and over the top. This kind of like tried to be serious, but
I don't know about that. I think it just tried to be slightly more adult. Like this is almost
like mature.
Yeah, this is like
but showing like random nudity
because they're talking about sex all the time, and they have a couple of nude scenes.
Yeah,
it's like baby's first sex comedy.
I guess so.
You know? Because it's... A lot of the stuff, a lot of the jokes and the comedy in this, it's potty humor, it's very juvenile.
Yeah, it's very 12-year-old. I mean, I feel like a 12-year-old person could have wrote this.
Yes.
Or did. I don't know.
or he did when he was 12. I don't know. I don't even fully know if Neill is a real person, to be honest with you. The only other credit to their name, the only other credits are also by Richard Gabai. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing his last name right. I could be wrong about that. Hot Under the Collar, which is the pseudo sequel to this movie, and then also a few shorts called The Voyeur, which is, again, just like sex oriented stuff. He may not be a real person. It could be an alias, is what I'm trying to say, that nobody knows. It's very juvenile, and it has a lot of attempts to sound cool. I also get a very, like, how do you do fellow kids vibe from some of the dialogue in there, where they just try to interject a whole bunch of slang that doesn't totally fit the scene or circumstances, or they're just trying to create catchphrases or, words that just aren't realistic. They weren't used by people in the early 90s.
Yeah, it was very... this also reminded me of Earth Angel?
Earth Angel? Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
I almost said Sweet Angel for some... It reminded me of Earth Angel a little bit. I guess mainly because it's always like...
you do
older
have...
people playing high school... that's just an 80s, 90s thing.
Yeah, also people look older to us in general, but you do have Linnea Quigley in here as Kathleen, like the senior head girl in the school, and she was 33 at the time that this was made, pretending to be a high school senior.
Yeah.
So, she had been around forever. She had been making movies for like 15-something years before this came out. So there's no way she was actually high school age. They just brought her in because of name recognition.
Yeah.
B-movie scream queen she was. It's really... It's an interesting thing. Yeah. I wrote down like halfway through, I'm like, I don't know what the real plot is supposed to be. I guess it's to try to sneak into the school. But it just... Scenes bounce from thing to thing here and there, and once they get into the school, they finally do break into the school, which isn't a big thing. They just jump the fucking fence at nighttime, and then voila, they're there. Good job.
Yeah, that whole scene where he's pretending to be a priest just to see his girlfriend. He didn't even have to do that.
No.
But, okay, so I guess we'll just fast forward to the end.
The movie goes all over the place, we can too.
Yeah. So the beginning already, like, I know all of these movies are going to be problematic. I know all of them are.
Uh-huh.
And, like, trigger warning. But it's like the beginning, she's asleep in the car, and he's just, like, looking at her shirt and starts unbuttoning her shirt while she's sleeping.
It's like a make-out point type of a scenario where they're alone in the car. It's late at night.
Yeah,
and for some reason, she's asleep.
That's how it starts. All you see, you don't even know their names yet. You just see a girl sleeping in the car and the guy looking at her sleeping, and then he's like, okay, I'm just gonna, like, open her blouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just starts to take advantage and unbutton her while a synthesized version of 2001 Space Odyssey is playing in the background.
Yeah, the slow motion things confused me, because that part where she's like, no, she says no.
Yeah, she wakes up and he's like, I said no, but it's all in slow motion, audio and visual.
That was like, why though?
I think it's because it's... So yeah, 2001, you have the big revelation scene, and that's the music that they're playing is the iconic song, and that scene has slow motion. That's the only thing I can really think of.
So he's just referencing that.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was a weird...
But it doesn't mimic the visuals of 2001 in any way. There's no like monolith or anything like that. There's no like bone thrown into the air or similar thing here. It's just really weird.
But that's like one of the
few
times that slow motion... There's only like... Well, the beginning scene, slow motion is used, and then it's not used at all.
For a long time. I think there's like a couple small sequences.
I just thought it was
I forget
weird.
where.
The second time is not when she does come home late at night.
Oh,
and her parents are like, why are you home late? And she's like, well, I didn't, they lost track of time, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, Richard is basically playing a prank to try to get into her pants by breaking his watch on purpose so that every time she asks what time it is, it's 9:30, which is before her curfew. But because it's always 9:30, she eventually catches on and is like, oh, wait, it's after midnight. I need to get home because I was supposed to be home by 10. So, I don't know. Why he thought that would be advantageous to him is whatever, but... So yeah, that's why she returns home late. She isn't actually doing anything inappropriate.
Yeah, she wasn't, but I mean, while he was unbuttoning her shirt, obviously 2 buttons break off, so she's got 2 holes in her front shirt, and I guess she's
snapped the bra as well.
And snapped her bra in the front.
Broke it.
Yeah, and so when she comes home, she's kind of holding her shirt together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when her parents are like, why are you home after midnight? And yada yada. And she's like, she makes up, I lost track of time, whatever. And they're like, okay, what were you doing out so late anyways? And then all of a sudden, her boobs get exposed.
She makes an exasperated motion. It's like, I don't know, not my fault. I wasn't trying to do it.
Yeah, she spreads her arms out and she forgot that her shirt was the buttons were broken.
And then flashes
her boobs were flashed out to her parents, and that was a weird slow motion scene.
Yeah.
Where her mom slowly covers the dad's eyes, and then that's when he's like, that's it, you're going to Catholic school. And then it goes into the credits.
Yeah. There's a couple more things I want to mention with that whole thing. One is before even getting to the parents, it's just such a weird dynamic that they set up right off of the bat. Obviously you have the Me Too moment at the very beginning, but also he's like, well, it's been 3 dates, how long do I have to wait type of attitude.
Yeah.
And then he's like, she's talking about how shitty of a person he is and how he's racked up tons of money on her dad's credit card already, even though it's been 3 dates. Somehow he was able to get access to the credit card and use it to this level.
Yeah, plus he's this quote-unquote nerdy guy, and she's the quote-unquote hot girl, I guess.
I mean, he thinks he's a Lothario. He thinks
but he's...
his quote, wizard of studliness. Right? So he's bragging to his friends about how amazing he is at getting
he's
women,
kind of like Anthony Michael Hall, the leader of the nerds.
Yeah. He's definitely that type.
In 16 Candles.
And visually, he looks like a budget Steve Guttenberg to me. So he has that kind of thing going. Or also sort of like the guy from Pieces. If anyone out there has seen Pieces, he's kind of like the lead guy in that visually as well. Who also supposedly got lots of women in that movie in Pieces, but
yeah,
Jerry is focused on Christy because that seems to be his best chance, even though it's been 3 dates and she really doesn't like him all that much. And he is the reason that she has to go to Catholic school. So, boyfriend is a loose term.
Yeah, even though that's what is in the plot, I guess.
It's really just the best. I don't know. Acquaintance that wants to fuck her, there's no good,
the guy she was dating a few times,
ex-boyfriend, because I don't know if they ever officially broke up or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
so she goes to an all-girls Catholic school, which is a boarding school, so she's there, she lives there.
Yeah.
And that's when he just tries to find a way to break in to get her.
Well, he needs to do it with somebody, and she's the one
only
who has
person that
talked to him.
Yeah.
And so, of course, he has to break into this all-girls school so that he has a chance to see some boobs and
yeah, and
do
then
some stuff.
Well, and then this is where fast forward to the end, So the father is like, I'm going to take you to this Catholic... It's a local one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take you to this Catholic school so she can become, like, a, quote, good girl, or just be, you know...
Yeah, learn decorum and manners. And,
yeah,
you know,
to be like this prim and proper lady.
Influence of sex, drugs, and rock and roll and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, and if that doesn't work, I'm going to take you to another boarding school that's in Greenland.
Right.
And, like, spoiler alert, that's what he does to her at the end. She goes to Greenland, and then we have... whatever his name, Richard Gabai, or Jerry.
Jerry Kaminsky is the character name.
Jerry Kaminsky, saying how he's got to find a way to go to Greenland now.
Yeah. He doesn't. At least not in the sequel. That also involves him dressing up as a priest and sneaking into a...
Is he reprising his role as Father Goose? G-U-U-S?
I don't know. I don't know if he uses that same alias. But,
I think that would be funny if he did.
But the actual character name is also Jerry Kaminsky. It's a very loose sequel from what I understand, in that it shares some characters. You know, Theo and
his two
Zoomer
friends
are both there.
Okay.
But and some of the other characters are in there. Burt Ward is also returning in that one, but he now plays the Pope instead of Mr. Murphy.
Okay.
And there's a couple other people who are in there that, whatever. So, but yeah, same basic premise. Tracy Dali does not return as a different girl playing the girlfriend. And I think they assume, I don't know, whatever. I didn't look into it that much other than it exists. Hot Under the Collar is another movie that existed in 1992. So not part of our podcast. Yeah. By the way, Burt Ward, I think, is probably... I think he's the best actor in this movie. Actually, Richard Gabai is not bad as an actor compared to some of the other people that are in this movie, but Burt Ward is the father. Dick Murphy, I think, is probably the best performance. And I think he's, you know, this is around the time when he's starting to allow himself to play around with his persona and go against the grain of, you know, his Batman history. So Burt Ward was like Robin.
Silly stuff. Yeah.
He was Robin in the 1960s Batman series, and also did it again in New Adventures of Batman in 1977. So he started to do more of these B movies. I'm probably because that's all he could get for a while, but I don't know. And he's clearly willing to play around with it, because when that opening shot of the boobies happens with his daughter, he's like, "Holy handfuls," and, you know, kind of playing off of the whole Robin thing.
He doesn't
where he always says "holy something."
He doesn't use swear words. Like, he's like, "What in the Sam Hill?" Like, instead of saying "what in the hell," he's saying, you know, "What in the Sam Hill is going on?" Yeah,
like, they're supposed to be very repressed Catholic people.
Yes.
But the Holy Handfuls is also kind of like an allusion to Robin, where every episode he would say, "Holy something Batman," like 30 different times. So he has, I don't know. and his wife is a secret dominatrix, so once the Christy goes away to college, or not college, goes to the boarding school, the mom is now all of a sudden like in full dominatrix gear, and
because you see her like in
into it.
A very matronly dress in the beginning, and she's kind of like a quiet woman, and then when they send their daughter to school, she's like in the bathroom, like the first night that her daughter is out, she's in the bathroom like getting ready in her dominatrix gear, and she's like, "You know what? I'm glad that she's like,
there's some benefits to this."
Yeah, and she comes out with 2 whips and scares Dick Murphy. But I mean, near the end, they're both, you know, all over each other, I guess. I mean,
he doesn't like the dominatrix stuff, but he's cool with whatever else is happening.
Yeah, and this dance that is at their daughter's school, at Christy's school, they are invited, and somehow, like, their clothes get ripped off.
They get ripped off from the whipped cream bomb.
Yes, and underneath that you see the mom's dominatrix, or like their dress and suit and tie or whatever. The mom is wearing like this dominatrix gear, and then he's got a t-shirt that says sex cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
And like big
and so
boxers.
They're exposed as like hypocrites, which isn't really
yeah
completely true because I mean they are married, so I don't
yeah,
know.
I mean, like, so it's like
their concern is with like premarital sex of teenagers, but you know
they're married.
Are marital.
Yeah.
So
yeah, everyone looks at them like, oh, you heathens.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just making just making fun of like the Catholic faith, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like all these judgmental people.
Yes, it's basically saying yes, there's these judgmental people who behind closed doors are probably worse than anything you're doing.
Right.
Worse in air quotes there. It's a really weird ending to the movie. It's probably, I don't know.
Like the mom's dominatrix stuff reminded me of the principal in Rock and Roll High School Forever, you know, with her dominatrix parts.
Yeah, where she removed the hook and used the whip.
She was using a whip, and then she would just like bring in random men into her office.
I don't know. It's such a weird thing because there's a lot of allusions to sex in the sex comedy, but it doesn't really go that far in showing a whole lot of stuff. I don't know. Like, I assumed for a movie like this that's R-rated, that is very much written in a pervy teenage boy point of view, that you would have a lot more gratuitous nudity than what we got. Especially considering some of the characters that we have in here, like the dominatrix mother, or for whatever reason, they have Miss Bush as the substitute teacher coming in to dress like a slutty nurse teaching sex ed to the guys in their kid, you know, in that classroom.
She doesn't like do anything further. She's like, I'm gonna teach you sex ed, and she's
then like
just
end scene before she even says anything. Really?
Yeah, anything sexual. Like, she could have... I know she's wearing, like, this sexy nurse outfit, and she, like, her cleavage is showing, and all the guys are trying to look at it. But that's about it.
I know it's, like, it's obviously a way to wedge in another cameo for someone who would be known in this scene. Yeah, Miss Bush is played by Michelle Bauer, who probably a lot of people know. I'm not very familiar with her, but she'd been around since the 80s as well in these types of movies, and, you know, done like Penthouse things as well. We can talk about her more because she's in 3 other 1991 movies. Mrs. Lambert Remembers Love, Camp, Fear, and Puppet Master 3. She's in all of those. So I think it's a way to kind of wedge in that cameo. But, you know, it was such a short, pointless thing. It was like, I don't know, slightly like erotic, but yeah, nothing happened. And again, it's this weird thing where they spent all this time trying to get into this girl's school, and you have this scene where like the girls are having like a pillow fight or something for a second, but I mean nothing raunchy happens. You know, there's like this conversation where Christy's like out of the blue says, "Hey, do you guys ever get horny?" And then they just like talk about like orgasms for like a tiny bit.
That just made me laugh.
Yeah, it's because it comes nowhere.
Out of yeah. Like, they're just sitting around brushing their hair or whatever, and she's like, "Hey, have you guys ever considered this?" Yeah.
And one of the other, I don't know, one of the other students in that dorm, Teresa, I think it is.
The good girl, or
I think Teresa's the good girl. She's like, "No, I never thought about anything like that. Like, I'm saving myself for whatever and blah blah blah."
Yeah, and that's when Christy, and I don't even know the other girl's name.
I forget. I didn't write it down because she didn't have any other screen credits besides this, so I didn't write down her
okay,
name or character.
Because I mean, there are random girls throughout this high school, and it's mostly...
but primarily it's like 4 students in the entire school.
Yeah, and it's mostly Leanna Quigley. Is it Linnea or...
I think it's Linnea Quigley.
Linnea, okay. Yeah. Linnea Quigley, as she's the mean girl.
Mm-hmm. And then a couple of the sisters, like the headmaster / principal, who is Sister Felicia.
Yeah, but
played by Catherine Grace, and then there's like another secondary one, which, who's more...
She was always... Yes, there's Sister Felicia and then Sister Ramona. Yeah. And Sister Ramona was the younger one.
Yeah.
And she always walked around the halls with a huge candelabra, and I was like, why?
To punish people, I guess?
But...
I don't know.
Why?
She also had a ruler the whole time during the dance.
But she didn't do any punishing.
I know. There's a lot of allusions to things happening and then nothing happens. Like, let's talk about when they finally break into the room. The 3 guys, they break into the room, and the girls are playing Monopoly, and so they're like, okay, well, I guess we could play strip Monopoly, or regular Monopoly, I guess, and then end scene. Like, they finally make it into the place, and then nothing is shown. They don't have any interaction.
They don't go past that.
No, we don't get to see, like, what about letting loose Teresa? What about, like, unleashing the sexual desires of these pent-up girls, which is, I would have assumed, is the whole point of going into this thing that they call Virgin High, right?
Yeah.
And none of that happens. So the only thing you get in terms of that is you have Linnea Quigley having a couple sex scenes with the security guard Derek. And then you have the opening shot with the girls, with Christy.
Yeah.
That's about it. I mean, you also have a car wash scene where nothing salacious happens either.
Yeah, they're just wearing bikinis, and obviously you see older men ogling them.
But it's nothing...
But it's not like other movies that do, like, sexy car washes where you see, like, the water cascading down, like, cleavage or anything like that, or wet t-shirt contests.
Oops, a nip popped out. Like,
right,
nothing,
yeah. I mean,
like
not like I wish to see that, but, like, I don't know.
But the people who are watching this movie at the time, the target audience,
like,
would
you're going to think, oh, that's going to happen, but it doesn't.
It does not.
And the only person that does get, like, really wet is Linnea, but she's the one that's like, she's like...
And she's like the one not in a bikini.
Right. And she's like, if you guys spill any drop on me, I'm going to be pissed. And that's when they, like, throw a bucket on her and she gets pissed off. And she's mostly just, mad at Christy.
Because she blames everything on Christy, whether it's warranted or not. And there's no great reason for it. There's no great reason for most of this stuff.
But I will say, like, so between the sex scenes between Linnea Quigley and the bodyguard guy, it made me laugh.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just like... I don't know. It made me laugh.
Well, I mean, she's
just using him, obviously.
And also, like, our introduction to it is that she's faking an orgasm anytime he, like, looks her way.
Yeah, every time he looks up at her, she's like... But the faces she makes is cracking me up.
Yeah, she's, like, going overboard, and then, like, as soon as his gaze goes away...
She's filing
like,
her nails. And stuff,
yeah, so.
Which, I mean, that's funny to me.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's a good gag. So, I don't know. I just wish that there was more stuff like that. I don't know. Like, this is supposed to be a sex comedy, right? So, like,
it's kind of just like making fun of sex comedies.
Maybe.
Like, they're just
I feel like that's giving it too much credit.
Well, I mean, because Linnea's, I think she's just like... I mean, the director is also the writer and the star, but is he just like...
Not technically the writer. Uncredited as a writer, but Jeff Neill wrote it, if Jeff Neill is a person.
Okay. Well, he directed and starring in it, and he's probably telling her, like, oh...
And he did all the music.
I mean, I will say I like all the music.
Okay.
Not the weird
Not the score. Yeah, the score is weird. It sounds like a bad PC computer game soundtrack.
Yeah, in the beginning it's
like
unsettling.
Leisure Suit Larry weird computer noise soundtrack.
But there are a few songs. There's like 2 or 3 songs, because at the end of the dance they have a band
called the Checks, which is
Yeah.
his band. I don't know if it's a real band or not, but all of the credits say that the music and lyrics are by Richard.
Yeah, but I liked the songs.
I did too. Yeah, and like the opening song over the credits, the "Why'd You Have to Go," that was a good song. I liked it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's good at writing songs and music.
Yeah, it's fun. It is also very 90s.
Yeah, I mean
But that's okay.
Yeah, I like that.
This movie is very much 90s. You know, it's obviously very low budget. It's, you know, you got the canted angles, you have people talking to the camera at times, you know, you have the accompanying sound effects to act as joke punchlines, sort of like what we saw in Rock and Roll High School forever as well. You have like the guitar riffs acting as background music, like the super over the top electric guitar. You have like these weird shadow patterns and unmotivated colorful lights. It's just very, very 90s in terms of the filmmaking, but also very budget because the production values are terrible. The audio is extremely unbalanced if we're talking like technically as well. You know, there's a lot of times where the editing is bad. But like, also, I mean, you have 2 people talking in the same scene and there's different levels of background hiss between the 2.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just something that it's easy to tell that it was recorded 2 different times, possibly in 2 different locations, even though it's meant to be the same scene. And it's just very off balance. And yeah. If you know to listen for it, you'll catch on to it. But I think, yeah, what hurts the movie a lot is not just that the dialogue is kind of bad and the plot has no progression, but also that the line delivery has so much space in between each person's line. Or even in between their next line of dialogue. They're talking, you know, they say a line, and then they wait a beat, and then they say their next line.
Mm.
Especially Linnea Quigley, unfortunately. Like, she's coasting through this when she's actually speaking dialogue. She's not. This is not her best work. I have not seen a lot of her work to know how par for the course that is, but yeah, she was rough to watch because it seemed like she was taking a moment to remember her next sentence and then speaking it after finishing
like
the previous
she just didn't really care to be there.
Something like that.
I mean, I actually liked her as the mean girl.
I liked the idea of the character. I didn't like the delivery of what she did, aside from like the physical stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, the sex scene, or I think one of the best moments from her is when she's leaving the room, and she's giving that double sneer where she like upturns one side of her lip and then she upturns the other side of her lip and goes back and forth like that a couple times.
At face play, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and I don't know her other work that well, really, to, you know...
It's a lot of...
I mean, she does a lot of horror stuff, so, I mean, I know she was, like, in Return of the Living Dead, and I can't... I mean, she just... I know she's in a lot of horror stuff that... I mean, I've seen some of these movies she's been in, but I can't, like, place her in them.
Sure. Yeah, she's in a ton. So, I mean, just to go over a couple of her credits here, I mean, she's still very active in the B-movie and horror world. She's doing a lot of direct-to-streaming, I guess would be the term now, type of movies. But, you know, she's been in things like Summer Camp, Graduation Day, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Return of the Living Dead, like you said, Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball, Ballerama, Vice Academy, Dr. Alien, and she also had a couple appearances on USA Up All Night, just because I'm sure a lot of her movies were on that.
There. Yeah.
So apparently she's known for her Scream. I haven't seen any of her horror movies. to know what her scream
I thought
sounds like. But...
You know, when she got hit with the water pail, I thought that's when she was gonna scream.
But she didn't, I don't think.
Yeah, no, she didn't. She just, like, she was like, Christy, I hate you. Yeah. Or something like that. Like, she blamed it on Christy, and she's like, you know what? When we go back to school... nobody comes to her defense, not even... Yeah, when we go back to school, you're not gonna exist, or something like that. Yeah. And, I mean, so after that, being thrown water on at the car wash for charity, I guess. It's to raise money for the school, which is really weird that they would have their teenage students dress up in bikinis and wash cars for a Catholic school, but okay. It also doesn't make sense that scene appears right after the guys sneak into the room and they act like so much time has passed. Like, right, it was just like the next day. Since the next... Maybe, I don't know. It seems like this is just the next day. But Jerry's like, well, I guess you like me a lot more now, or something like... He says something weird, like, along those lines. I'm like, well, what happened? Like, show us the relationship if that's the whole point of this movie. Yeah, it's just... Like, do they like each other? I mean, I know he likes her. She shouldn't like him. But when he comes in as the priest, she recognizes him. She's like... And doesn't want him there. Yeah. Because he is the reason that she is there. Yeah. And she pushes him and gets in trouble for it. Because the sister Felicia sees her push him. And she thinks she thinks he's a legitimate father goose. G-U-U-S. It's Dutch, which is, that was an okay joke. Yeah, I mean, the parts where when he had to, like, teach ethics class, I mean... That was okay. And then after that as well. Yeah. And then after that where she's like, okay, well now you can go to confession to, yeah, if you want to listen in on the confessions. And he's like, okay. And then I mean the first girl who's the good girl, Teresa. Mm-hmm. She's like, saying all these, I was mean to my parents once and I had one impure thought. And he was like, wait, tell me your impure thought. Yeah. And it was something like, dreamt about Donny Osmond or something. Yeah, just kissing Donny Osmond. So. And he's like, alright, okay. And then she's like, well, what's my penance? And he's like, what do you usually get? Yeah. I mean, I like that whole thing. And then Linnea Quigley's character comes in and he's just talks about all the impure thoughts and just goes through like this huge fantasy. He's like, he's like, do you have any impure? Now I wish he went like, what if Christy was there? Right. Like, why not show other girls? Think because it's just like the good girl Teresa, then Linnea's. She goes into her fantasy. I think they would have had to structure the movie a little bit differently because Christy already knew that he was there. Yeah. So she would have known that she was confessing to him. Yeah. So they would have had to reverse the scenes and have the confessional stuff first. That should have happened because then he could have been like, "Do you have any impure thoughts?" And what if she like confessed something about him? Right. Because that's what I thought. That's he was like getting into. Because he always talks about how much game he has and like how he's this. And so that's what he's like telling Zoomer and Theo or whatever they're doing. Yeah, which I don't know. They're ultra nerdy, I guess, but they don't. Whatever. They're just kind of there. They don't have any. Except for like when they come into the girls' room, like Zoomer starts to have feelings for the good girl Teresa. Yeah, but they don't like show it. They just show them like near the end of the dance together. Like they're dancing together. Okay, well I guess they did have some sort of a connection. Yeah, but we don't get to see it. It's just a lot of things that are just disappointing or just not structured well or not
thought out all the way. And then you have all kinds of weird, goofy moments, which I think is meant to be the focus. It's much more focused on the comedy side of things more than is this a movie that makes sense. Like, that's secondary. You know, let's just throw whatever loose plot there is in there, and let's just try to fill it with jokes and occasional sexiness, even though it's called Virgin High. I think one of the things that, again, like Rock and Roll High School Forever, I think what helps us make that connection is it is a school. It is dealing with repression versus teenagers who are acting out. And then you have weird moments strewn throughout this whole thing, like the loudspeaker guy who's like, attention virgins, and like you have sirens, and he's like making a school announcement like, the lambada is forbidden.
Yeah, I was like, who is saying that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I thought it was the principal, but the principal is the nun.
But then, like, that last one, I forget what the exact wording of it was, but it was like specifically geared towards Christy. Something like attention Christy, like stay away from Kathleen or something like that. Like, it was hyper focused to the situation. It's like, so is this just an audience gag and the girls are not actually hearing this?
So when they find out,
what is this?
Yeah, when they find out that Jerry is Father Goose and not a real father, I guess, that's when the loud voice is like, attention, there's an imposter on the school premises, he goes by Father Goose, like,
yeah.
But then they don't show him getting caught.
No, he was able to escape because the friends are like, oh, he must have gotten caught, and then he like appears, and then he was able to run away.
But they don't show people trying to look for him, like that guy, the
security guy.
The security guy.
Derek,
like they could have shown something between the two of them.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, they have a quick scene before he dresses up like Father Goose, which is another weird situation. Like, obviously this is the same guy, and I think Derek even sees him as Father Goose. They all see him as the photographer at the formal at the end, but yet nobody makes the connection. Like,
yeah,
oh,
they're
you're
like,
the same guy?
Look familiar.
Right, because you were clearly like not wearing like any sort of disguise.
Yeah, he's not wearing
a shirt.
Besides, the white collar with the black shirt. I mean, he's not covering his face.
It's
and
really...
they didn't be like, hey, that's... If someone said, hey, that's Father Goose, I would have died.
Yeah.
Like, someone should have made that reference.
Yeah. I don't know, like, pretend. I don't know. It's... And why does he have a parrot that shows up and makes, like, 2 jokes?
I was thinking
There's
that,
so many
too,
weird random things that
made me think of, Earth Angel again with that parrot.
Yeah. But it's there for 2 jokes.
Just to be like, yeah, you're a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye.
Basically. There's things that have potential. Like the fact that anytime that Jerry and his friends go anywhere, they walk around and do like basically like wild and crazy guy dance.
Mm.
You know, they're moving all weird. Like when Father Goose is walking down the halls, he's always like bouncing up and down and like moving his arms in different weird ways and basically dancing along. He's like doing little finger points to people and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think he's just like walking,
are sneaking around. They're doing like a Jets West Side Story type of a little dance, gallivanting around.
Yeah, when he's doing the Father Goose thing, I think he's just like going by every girl he sees and he's doing the sign of the cross. So he's doing sign of the cross, sign of the cross. Like I don't know
if he's even fully doing that. Like
I saw him do it like a couple times, and I thought that was like part of his joke.
And he's like,
like he's bowing and then he does the sign of the cross. Like I don't know.
Like I don't know. It's I guess supposed to be sort of like nervous energy, perhaps too.
Yeah.
But it's weird. Like it's meant to be quirky and goofy, which counteracts the adult nature of what this movie is rated. I think that's part of the issue, is that it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it knows that it's specifically targeting like the 13, 14-year-old kids who are trying to find an R-rated movie.
Yeah,
to watch.
This is. I mean, I don't like. If I did watch this when I was younger, I don't know if I would have liked it.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think if I would have watched Rock and Roll High School Forever as a kid, I would have liked that.
Yeah, I watched that as a kid and liked it.
Yeah, we had a discussion about all that. So this
I'm just
one,
trying to think.
There
would
are
I
elements
like
that
this?
I think are good, but they just don't work. It's I also liked the guy that Christy sort of dates at the end. So her parents set her up with this guy, Leonard Clapner.
He was like another wild and crazy guy type of guy.
He was so over the top, but it was great. I don't know, like he was like this uber douche goofball.
Right.
Like, which really, it's not that much of an improvement or downgrade from Jerry. They're basically the same person, just different. I don't know.
He's like
slide one modifier up and one modifier down, and you got the same.
Yeah,
person.
he's just a little bit more. He's like musclier, I guess. He's a muscle, but not like.
He's more boisterous and more well defined physically. And
like he's good, a little bit better looking than Jerry.
Yeah, but he is a braggart in a different way.
And he's wearing
and he's more concerned
a shirt
with,
that only 2 buttons are buttoned and his chest is full on out.
Mm-hmm.
But and his parents are okay, and her parents are okay with that.
Well, because he's rich.
Yeah.
His family is rich, and he's going to be the heir to whatever fortune, whatever. So, I don't know. He kind of reminded me of that SNL character, like the guy with the small dick who owns a boat. Like, he had that type of, like...
I mean, he just gave me the wild and crazy guy energy.
Yeah. He's just talking about golfing a whole bunch. Just random stuff that no one cares about except for him.
So, yeah, then this is where it gets to be kind of like Rock and Roll High School Forever, because after that car wash, Kathleen is like super pissed off at Christy, so Kathleen goes to Derek and is like, hey, I've got a plan to like ruin Christy at the dance.
Yeah. We're gonna sabotage her.
Yeah, by making this weird ass bomb thing. Yeah. Which I didn't even understand.
Yeah, the bomb thing I didn't understand, but also, okay, the idea was that they had the idea that there's going to be some sort of discussion or speech given by Christy because her father's going to be there giving a check to keep the school afloat, and they're doing some sort of a charity thing, and so it's going to be like this heartfelt thing to say how they appreciate the school and how much it's done for them. And then she was going to unveil this painting of the Virgin Mary, I think it was.
Yeah.
Was what it was supposed to be. But that was the plan for sabotage, where Kathleen, Linnea Quigley's character, swaps out the painting for one that just has a spray painted message of Virgin High eats it.
Which I was like, that's your revenge?
Yeah, like, okay, that's like, again, like a 10-year-old, right? Like, this is too
like,
immature for what this movie's supposed to be.
If you're gonna... I thought she was gonna be, like, full on, go on, like, carry, like, pig blood, or I don't know.
And then this whole idea of, like, this whipped cream bomb, where I guess she's gonna get covered with whipped cream when it goes off.
That's like
okay, whatever.
That's not even... That's 12-year-old, like, hey, I'm gonna hit you with a cream pie level revenge. But, like, Jerry's revenge is, like, 10 times more than that, because that's when he finds her having sex with Derek, and he takes a picture of them, and he
is listening into their plan with the stethoscope.
Yeah, I mean...
And I don't know how he even knows that they're both going to be up there and that they're going to be talking about a secret plan to be doing that in the first place.
I think he was just going to spy in on her, but then when he saw her with Derek, he was like, whoa, okay, I can use this.
And, like, big open windows.
Right.
Big open windows. he's in full view, not trying to hide at all.
Yeah.
Taking flash pictures of them and like listening in. This like that's one of the most like comical parts of the movie to
right.
me, is that clearly he's in the peripheral vision of both of them.
And they don't
pretend not
even
to
see him. And this is like how at Rock and Roll High School Forever, like how he gets back with, you know, the preppy people by showing that video or whatever. The same thing happens with Kathleen, where he swaps out her virgin high school eats it thing to like her naked on top of Derek.
Yeah,
but like
it's a canvas of like a blown up picture of her naked on top.
Yeah,
of
but
Derek.
they cover, you know, the body parts.
Do
with
they?
like her boobs are covered with like stickers or something.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that. I thought it was
like he embellished it with like glitter and the stickers.
If you happen to be watching this on YouTube and you see a picture of it, then enough was covered for me to show it on YouTube. So,
okay.
If not, then it wasn't. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, at least like her nipple parts were.
So yeah,
but nipple parts.
Nipple
Just say
parts.
nipples. Stupid.
So yeah. The dad gets all huffy and takes back his check, and then like he gets whipped cream bomb goes off, and it only affects them, and no whipped cream really anywhere.
He gives the school $100,000.
$350,000.
Oh, I was like,
it's
what?
from some sort of foundation that he's a part of.
I thought that was like, that's way too much money to be giving to a school.
$350,000.
But then he takes it back after all that.
Yeah. But then the whipped cream goes off, and then it's exposed, the sex cowboy and the whatever, you know, the dominatrix outfit. And it's like, okay, well, you got us. Everyone knows. Here's your money back.
But then he's like mad at everyone's. Poor Christy, honestly.
I mean,
like
the dad is understanding after the whipped cream bomb goes off. He's like, yeah, okay, I get it. Whatever. You're a good daughter.
But then she still goes to Greenland.
That's because of something that happens off camera again.
Yeah.
Where they talk about it and then don't show it, about a sex scene. Because Jerry is explaining how after the formal, they were going at it.
They were having sex.
Or either about to or were actually doing it. And then all along comes Dick Murphy sitting on top of the car catching them. And he's like, oh, can you imagine, like, this is why parents don't want spend so much money on these prom dresses, because they know that at some point in the middle of the night it's going to be up between their ears or whatever. You know, like, so, like...
Yeah, and then
so because he was caught having sex...
With her...
She's off to Greenland.
She's off to Greenland.
And they're gallivanting in a desert while saying this for some reason.
Yeah, that was weird. And then it ends.
And then it ends. It's a oh my god, this is such a disaster of a movie, really. It's listening to us talk about it, I think, is hopefully more entertaining than actually watching it, because it wasn't that fun to watch for me.
I mean, it was okay for me. There were some parts where I was like entertained.
Yeah, but they're few and far between. I don't know. Like the opening was okay, the ending was relatively strong, but that middle was just so confusing and all over the place and just whatever. The movie had illusions of grandeur just like Jerry did. I'll say that. And the other weird thing, I think this is the first movie I've ever seen where in the credits it says address all fan mail to, and then it gives like a P.O. box to send your fan mail for the movie to a certain spot. Like, what are you hoping to accomplish with that? I'm assuming it's a joke, but like it's.
I mean, I think he has fans still, because I looked him up on Instagram and he still does like.
He does like Hallmark movies now.
Yeah, but he does, like, I saw him at a Comic-Con recently in, like, Albuquerque or something.
You saw that he attended. You didn't go to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw online that he still does, like, cons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to go fly out and meet him. Right?
Yeah, I just want to clarify because of the way that was phrased.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I didn't physically go see him with my own eyes. Right. I just scrolled on the internet like I do all my life. Yeah. And saw that he was somewhere recently at a con.
He's had a long career, and he's been able to make I hope a good living for himself.
I mean,
he's done a lot. He has done a lot.
Turning to Hallmark movies is a good choice, because those are just like mindless whatever.
Yeah, he obviously proves that he can do quite a bit with a low budget.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, like, this was not a very strong production. There's a couple scenes where you clearly see the boom mic in frame, like, really dipping in. There's some weird camera choices. A lot of the movie were several scenes. There's this weird circular border around it, which makes it look like you're looking through a peephole, even though you're clearly not. Mm. And I don't know why that existed. So, and like I said, like, a lot of the audio stuff was really bad in this, and very 90s filmmaking at the time. But, I mean, he obviously knows how to work with people and have them work with him again over and over again, because he keeps the same crew for a lot of this stuff. I don't know. You know, we got Richard Gabai he's done things like Assault of the Party Nerds before this, and he also did the sequel. He did Blood Nasty, he did Vice Girls, Virtual Girl 1 and 2, Kickboxing Academy. And then he did Pop Star, the movie with Aaron Carter, in like 2003, I think it is, or 2005.
Yeah, I know.
That could be part of why he's in conventions. Weirdly enough, in Pop Star, the Aaron Carter movie, he plays Jerry Kaminsky. Not only does he direct, but he also plays the same character, Jerry Kaminsky, in that movie.
Does he just really like that name?
I guess. I don't know.
He reprises that character?
Or, yeah, like, is that... Because part of Pop Star's thing is you have like Danny Bonaducci, and I think there's some other major person. I want to say maybe Cassidy or some. No, I'm sorry, Leif Garrett and David Cassidy, I think, are both in that.
I've never seen it. Like
I haven't either, but okay. I know of it.
All I know is the Andy Samberg Pop Star movie.
Yeah, that's a different pop star.
I know. Like, so whenever you say that, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But like, that's what I'm thinking of.
But yeah, like, these two older pop stars from the 70s are giving Aaron Carter advice, but they're both like fictionalized characters. You know, like, Leif Garrett is playing, like, the school janitor, for instance.
Oh.
Stuff like that.
So then...
And so, like, is Jerry Kaminsky also another one of those, like, guys from the past giving him advice, and we're supposed to know who he is?
You can watch the movie and let me know.
No, I'm good. But yeah, after like Pop Star, he transitioned to A&E TV movies like The Wrong Woman and Mommy, I Didn't Do It. A couple things with like Danica McKellar, I think, was starring in those. And then he moved into like Hallmark movies as well. So he's been busy with a lot of stuff. So, we didn't miss any plot points, did we? Or should we just keep going with the cast and crew here?
I mean, we can say that this is the first... Are you going to say this is the first appearance of Leslie Mann as the Squiggle Girl?
I am,
okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll go through a couple other cast members first, and we'll end with Leslie Mann. So, we got Tracy Dali as Christy. She is going to be in a lot of his other stuff, but she's also done things like Sunset Heat, Bikini Summer 2, Virtual Girl, and Space Girls in Beverly Hills. She's known for doing like nude scenes and stuff. She's very prolific in the Playboy space, and she also had like a brief, I don't know if you want to call it like a cameo type of a role in a WWE storyline where she played like the mistress of The Undertaker or something like that, like some fake storyline. Burt Ward, we talked about a little bit. He played Dick Murphy. Like I said, he was known for Robin. There's also a little scene where he plays with superhero figures, and one of those is Batman. He plays with like a Batman figure and Batmobile in there. So again, he's comfortable with that, but this is the only 1991 movie that he's in. Again, he was in other movies like Robot Ninja and Beach Babes from Beyond and all this other kind of stuff. Right now, he does still act in some random stuff, but I think most of his time is spent with his Gentle Giant's dog rescue and pet food companies. So he deals with like Great Danes and bigger dog animals and has like a rescue for that. Who else we got? We got Maureen Levette as Mrs. Murphy. She's been in a couple other like B-movie type things as well, like Danger USA and Death Game. Theo, he's been in a lot of stuff from Richard as well, but the only other thing I'll note is that he's in the Philips CDI video game called Girls Club, which is basically what's that board game where you have like the phone and
Girl Talk?
Girl Talk. It's sort of like Girl Talk, except it's a Philips CDI video game. It's called Girls Club. It also stars Dina from Salute Your Shorts in it, and he's one of the guys you could potentially pair up with.
There was like Girl
That's
Talk.
Kent Burden played Theo. I don't think I said Kent Burden.
Girl Talk and like Heartthrob. I was upset. Like someone.
I wanted to say like mystery
buy
date
me
or
Girl
something
Talk.
Like yeah, like, one of those mystery date type of
mystery, and then like Girl Talk and Mall Madness were like Mall Madness is the best.
Didn't they re-release Mall Madness?
No, but I want like the 80s one.
I mean, yeah, I think it's the same stuff. They just re-released it, sort of like they did with Fireball Island. Anyway, Jeff Bowser played Zoomer. He's again in a lot of Richard stuff like Party Nerds Part 2 and Hot Under the Collar. He's done a lot of like single episode appearances on TV shows, and he also appeared as a zombie in Linnea Quigley's workout video from 1990. It's like she did like a horror workout.
That's cool.
VHS tape, and he appears as a zombie. So we talked about Linnea Quigley here as well. Christopher Dempsey, who played Derek, he'll be in a couple other 1991 movies: Driven to Kill and California Casanova. And then we also have Leslie Mann as Squiggle Girl. She has one scene where Father Goose is teaching the theology class and draws a little squiggle on the wall on the chalkboard and says, "Does anybody know what this is?" And Leslie Mann says, "A squiggle?" It's like, "I didn't call on you. Anyone?" "Yes, you. A squiggle?" "Correct."
She had another
debut feature.
She had another scene before that. When he arrived, she walks by and she goes, "Hi, Father."
Yeah, that's true. She does have one other line in the movie. so
cute.
So Leslie Mann, if you don't know, she is been in things like Cable Guy, She's the One, George of the Jungle, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, Funny People, This Is 40, all of the Judd Apatow movies, because that is her husband. And they met on Cable Guy. So that's basically the cast and crew. A lot of the other people in there did not do a whole lot, or they're going to be in some other random 1991 movies. We can talk about them another time. No awards to mention. What a surprise. On to true crime and pop culture we go.
Yeah, this movie was released on a Wednesday, January 23rd, 1991, and nothing major happened on this day, but this movie was released 2 days before Millions, and then like a week after New Jack City and Terror Within 2, so there a lot of the TV and music is going to be similar, but there are a couple of TV shows that are new that I found that we haven't talked about before, I don't think.
Okay.
That I can talk about right now. And then music is pretty much the same, so I'm just going to skip music.
Sure. Yeah, we haven't talked about TV in a while.
Yeah, because usually TV is the same. But this is like a Wednesday night, and, you know, a lot of movies are like on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So on ABC, this is like everything is new. This is January, so it's like the beginning
of mid-season.
It's like mid-season spring lineup.
Yeah.
So on ABC, we had The Wonder Years, Growing Pains, Doogie Howser, and then the show Married People, which I talked about before. It's about this apartment complex where it's like 3 different married couples going through different stages of life.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember who was in it, but I remember.
I don't remember who's in it, but I remember. Yeah, I don't think it was like anyone super notable now. And then after that was the legal drama Equal Justice, which I've talked about before. That's the one with Jane Kasmerick and Sarah Jessica Parker was in it. Mm. And on CBS was a TV series, Lonesome Dove, which we did talk about before because it was directed by the director of Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, Simon Windsor.
Yeah.
But this was a mini-series. This is like a re-release. So it's based off the book Lonesome Dove, which I never read. It's just, another period piece Western. Mm-hmm. And it first aired in 1989. It was only 4 episodes, so this was part 3 out of 4, and there was 15.5 million people watching this. But it starred Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones and Danny Glover. So it's just, I don't know anything about Lonesome Dove.
I just know it's I know the name, that's it.
Yeah, it's just like a Western adventure.
Is it even? I thought it was a drama.
It's an adventure drama, I guess. It takes place in the 1870s with Captain Gus McCrae and Captain Woodrow Call, 2 famous former Texas Rangers who run a small, dusty Texas border town called Lonesome Dove along the Rio Grande. Gus is played by Robert Duvall, and then Woodrow Call is played by Tommy Lee Jones.
Okay. I thought there was a movie as well, like in 98 or something.
There was, other shows where it was Return to Lonesome Dove, which that came in 1993.
Maybe that's.
And then there was other iterations. There's the Streets of Laredo, which is a 95 Western. It's another TV series that was in 1995. And then there was another Lonesome Dove, the series, that was, I guess they redid it in 1994 with different people. I don't see it as a movie. It has a lot of, you have Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones because these are, movie actors.
Maybe that's why I thought it was a movie. And I'm sure the video store carried a copy of it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, like a 4...
Yeah, like a dual tape thing.
Yeah, like 4 VHS tape thing, or a 4 DVD or a 2 DVD set or something.
Yeah.
I've never watched it. And so moving on to NBC, there was an Unsolved Mysteries episode, but if we don't have a TV guide, we don't know what the episode is.
Yeah.
We've said this before. When we look up the episodes online, it's just
not correct. There's multiple conflicting pieces of information.
Yeah, so we can't even talk about it.
Yeah. So we could pick a random one, but we just decided not to this time.
Yeah. And after that was Night Court. These are all new episodes. And then after that was Seinfeld, and this is the first episode of the 2nd season, which that boggled my mind because I remember talking about episodes of the 3rd season, but the 2nd season premiered during the beginning of the year of 1991, and that was 12 episodes. And then it was renewed for the 3rd season, and it came in the fall of 91.
So there just really wasn't that much of a gap. It basically ran from like
it went
January through end of March.
Yeah, it went from January to June, and then that was the second season, and then it was picked up for like a full season because the first season was only like 5-6 episodes, and the second one was 12, and then they picked up for the third season for like the full 23 episode.
Yeah.
So I mean that kind of blew my mind. I didn't realize 1991 had season 2 and 3 of Seinfeld, and that was the episode called The Ex-Girlfriend. But after that is a show called Hunter. Do you know about this?
It sounds familiar.
We haven't talked about it, but it went on for 7 seasons, and this was in the middle of the 7th season.
There's kind of like a bigger name actor in the lead, right?
It stars Fred Dryer.
Oh,
He's an
like
NFL.
Wagner or something like that.
He was in the NFL, and then he retired, and then he became like an actor.
Okay.
But he is in all 7 seasons, and then they did 2 TV movies that did really well. One was in 1995, the other was in 2003, so they did a revival of the series in 2003, but I guess it didn't do too well, so it ended. But he's in the lead in all of them. So the show begins, or it is about, it stars Fred Dryer as Sergeant Rick Hunter, and then Stephanie Kramer was the other sergeant. She was in the first 6 seasons. Stephanie Kramer, she's currently in, I don't have a face to her name, but she's currently in the 911 TV series, and she was in NCIS for a bit. She was in the first 6 seasons with him.
She's found a lot of success in shows that we don't have any
interest in. Yeah, she's in a lot of random procedurals now. So she was Sergeant Dee Dee McCall, and the lead character is a wily, physically imposing, obviously dickhead dude. I don't know, rule-breaking homicide detective. And in season 7, they brought in a new female co-star, and that was Darlene Flugel. She played Officer Joanne Malensky. She wasn't really... The only movie that I know... She did random TV shows, but she died in 1997. But the only thing that I know that she was in was in Pet Sematary 2.
Okay, which I haven't seen.
Yeah. She played Officer Joanne Malensky, and however, she was reported to have created differences with Fred Dryer. So halfway through this current season 7 in 1991, she wanted out of the show, so her character was murdered by a female serial killer in a 2-part episode. And then her replacement for the second half of this season was Lauren Lane. She is known as... Did you ever watch The Nanny? Oh. She was Cece Babcock in The Nanny. She was basically the antagonist. She was the blonde-haired woman that didn't like The Nanny.
Okay. I don't even know that much about The Nanny. I know that she... It was like a British family or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's all I know.
So she played Sergeant Chris Novak, and she was supposedly the former girlfriend of Sergeant Hunter.
Okay.
But the TV movie revival co-starred Barry Bostwick, and it had Miguel Ferrer and John McGinley were in it. And Fred Dryer was in all of these episodes. There's a lot of people coming and going. he was in the revival and everything, but I've never
seen it.
Never seen it, never even heard of it.
I've heard of it, I'm sure, but yeah, not my thing.
Yeah, not my thing at that time. And then, since this was USA Up All Night, this is a new thing that we might try. So we've never done this before, but usually when you're watching USA Up All Night, you have a lot of 1-900 commercials.
That's the thing I remember most about USA Up All Night. It's Gilbert Gottfried and
a co-host,
Rhonda Shear or whoever else. I know there's a third host, but I can't remember her name right now. Doing like their own different things to host the movies, and obviously like just the quality of movies you remember, but also just the commercials that were shown during USA Up All Night were much different than you would see anywhere else, because it's catering to this, I don't know, deviant audience. I don't know, like or preying on like little kids having sleepovers.
Yeah, I mean, because that's when I was watching it. I mean, I was not even necessarily having sleepovers. I just like...
Oh, yeah, I watched it by myself a lot, too.
Yeah, but when I was a kid, I would just like... I never wanted to sleep.
I couldn't sleep.
Oh, I would make like...
I was up to like 1, 3 in the morning every night of my life, practically.
Oh, no, I would like...
Now.
I would make... I don't know, maybe I was there has to be other people who did this. But I would make like not bets with myself. Like I would push myself to stay awake for 2 days straight.
Oh. I did that in college. I would basically have like an all-nighter once a week in college.
But this is just because I wanted to watch TV for 2 days straight. Like from Friday night to Sunday night, I was like, I'm just going to be watching TV for 2 days straight or doing whatever.
Yeah, I can see
that.
And
never sleeping for 2 days straight.
Because I had like a couple little bets with myself, like how many movies can I watch in a weekend, and I would just like go to Hollywood Video, rent up.
Yeah, that's what when I was in high school, I did that.
I got like 8 done in a weekend or something.
Oh yeah, that's all I did was lock myself in my room and watch movies and TV. Like this is why I am the way I am. Yeah. I don't know.
My parents didn't let me have game systems, but I had a VCR in my own room with the TV, so
right.
That's what I got to do.
Or I would go to a friend's house and we would just stay up all night just doing random shit. Because like whatever, like whenever I was at my friend's house, like their parents like didn't give a shit and they allowed us to do whatever and stay up late or never sleep, and that's what I loved.
Yeah, that was the best part of the whole thing.
Like at my house it was like I would get yelled at or something, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go spend the night at whoever's house.
Yeah, my parents didn't care as long as we weren't too loud. If we woke them up, then it's like, hey, settle.
Yeah, if we were if we were loud. So that's why I would just kind of like watch TV silently, or I would sneak, because I think at this point I had a TV in my room when I was like in high school, but before that I had to like sneak.
Yeah, the premium channels were only on one TV, and that was like the main living room for us.
Yeah, I had to sneak out of the room quietly to go watch TV quietly.
Yeah, you had to be a lot more quiet in that room because there was no door to shut off from that.
Yeah.
So, but USA Up All Night, that was on every TV, so got exposed to a lot of these 1-900 commercials throughout the years. But
so we on YouTube there are hundreds, but I found just 1991 specific 1-900 number commercials, and I'm just gonna play one. There are many.
Yeah, we thought it would be fun to play like one per episode, basically, for the
USA
Up All Night month.
Yeah, for at least this month, because a lot of them are pretty funny. And then we'll put it on the website, because obviously you can't see, like, hearing and seeing it is what makes it funny.
It's part of the adventure.
Yeah, so I'll just start this one because it's called 1-900 Fun Mate.
On the live now, the excitement is bubbling over right now.
Call us now. Why be lonely when you can talk to us?
I just love this jacuzzi, don't you?
Call me, please.
We have some wonderful secrets to share.
We're real. We're live. And we're waiting to hear from you.
Call 1-900, find a mate.
$9.95 per call.
$9.95. $9.95 per call.
But so what if you're on for like a half hour though?
I guess it's only $9.95. That's probably cheaper than some of the other ones.
Yeah,
then.
some of them are like $3 the first minute and then $1 after.
Yeah. I did you ever call 900 numbers?
Not these. I used to watch the kid ones.
But
I got in trouble.
You used to call like the New Kids on the Block hotline.
Yeah,
or
something
whatever?
like that. It would be like on during the day. It would be like, because there was other ones that.
Like, get a funny joke every day if you call this number. There's
yeah,
stuff
something
like that.
It would be like. One of them was like a Halloween one where it's like, if you want to hear a scary story, call it. Like, yeah. I definitely would have been calling that.
I knew that money was a thing, and that like my parents like would have to pay for this stuff. So I'm like, no, I'm not even asking. For
well, I did it once.
I'm just not doing it.
I did it once, and I got yelled at. So I was like, okay, never again. Well, I was too afraid to call these numbers.
Oh, I would never. But I mean, I'm honestly surprised that at some of the sleepovers that I had that no one ever did it.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Because that's ripe for
like
little
12-year-old
kids to call and
like prank
around.
Call or laugh or whatever.
I mean, we went through the phone book looking for funny names.
Yeah, and calling people up.
Yeah, and we're like, oh, this guy's last name is Hole. His first name is Richard with
like
middle initial
A-hole
A.
Or something.
That's a real thing. Like there was a guy Richard A. Hole in the phone book, so we called him a couple times. So but we never called the 900 numbers.
Well, because it would be on your phone bill, and your parents would be like, "What the fuck?"
Exactly. But even at friends' house, we didn't call them. So.
Well, because their parents would be like, what
I'm just surprised I didn't have a stupid friend who didn't care.
That's why, like, the one friend that I would sleep over a lot, her parents probably would have been like, yeah. Well, they'll be like, hey, now.
Yeah.
Like, if we're spending a lot of money, then, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. So
we never did it. I was too afraid. So if someone is listening that has
if you're watching, yeah, let us know. Let us know what it's like.
I want like an AMA Reddit. I want a Reddit AMA about your experience of calling 900 numbers.
And let us know if you like the idea of going through some of these old commercials, because we might be able to do that.
Yeah, the commercial's hilarious. It's 4 women in a hot tub, and
they're real.
Yes, they're real.
So yeah,
it's just some of them I have like dead eyes looking into the camera, and I just feel bad.
Yeah.
But that's all I got.
All right. So we'll move on to rankings and ratings. Where on your 1 to 5 star scale are you going to put Virgin high?
This is controversial.
Is it?
I'm gonna give it a 2.
Okay. All right. Like when you said controversial, I'm like, are you going 3? Did you like it that much? I think you like this one more than me then.
It's fine. I mean, I liked it more than like Terror Within 2 or Kiss Before Dying. Or... I feel like Terror Within 2 had more ammo to just kind of sit and make fun of it while you watch it. This is a little bit more of like, what the hell is going on? I can't get a grasp of the plot, the characters, anything. It's just it's weird in some of the wrong ways. Whereas something like Rock and Roll High School Forever is weird in the right ways. So even though that wasn't a particularly well-made movie, this was even worse in both respects. To me, I don't know. So on my 0 to 4 star scale, a lot of my star scaling is based off of the actual production quality side of things rather than enjoyability. But it does sort of sometimes play a factor. I'm going half star. It's pretty low on the totem pole for me. So this is tied with Lucy and Desi.
I think Lucy and Desi was my first 0.
Oh, I thought you gave that a half.
I think I gave it a 0.
I
think that's my first and only 0.
Okay.
I'd have to double check again. But if not, then yeah, it's in the same type of category. But yeah, I don't know. There's a couple parts that I enjoyed. Again, I think Richard was a decent enough actor for the lines that he probably wrote himself. The music was good. You know, there's a couple interesting parts, but overall not so great. Every movie's worth watching once. Would you watch this again?
If they did some sort of movie midnight thing where it's another, like, if they played other movies that this guy
Gabai
did,
showcase type of a thing.
Yeah.
Like Assault of the Party Nerds 1 and 2, and then this Hot Under the Collar double feature or something like that.
Yeah. If this was a double feature with something else, yes.
Yeah, that's probably the only way I would too. I would give his other movies a shot. I would watch Party Nerds 1 and 2. I would watch Virtual Girl 1 and 2. I'd try those.
I'm curious. I don't know. Should we watch Popstar? I don't know. Like, I'm just really curious. Like, what?
Maybe it's like a Patreon benefit or something like that.
Yeah. You know, what did he do in that movie?
Yeah, I'm really curious to know how he incorporated Jerry Kaminsky into that movie now.
And would anyone get that reference?
Right.
Unless people are like hardcore fans of his.
But I mean, who's watching Popstar? Like 12-year-old girls who are obsessed with Aaron Carter, right?
Yeah.
So they're not going to know about some titty movie from
20-ish years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway. If you out there want to watch Virgin High, as of this recording in August 2022, it's only available on Tubi or VHS, not digital rental or DVD as of now. As always, check your local listings. As for us, you can listen to us on all of your major podcasting platforms. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, and tell your friends. It does help us out a lot. You can email us at 1991movierewind@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and YouTube. Just search 1991 Movie Rewind or go to 1991movierewind.com for the full list of movies, along with show notes and more. Next week, we're continuing our USA Up All Night adventure. We'll see you then.
Thanks.